When it comes to our elections, we should be cleaning the voter rolls. It should be a priority for every single state in this country. Get rid of people who aren't supposed to be on the voter rolls. It's that simple. For some states, they just don't want to do it. But great states like Texas, well, they just purged about 1 million people off of their rolls. And interesting enough, when you go through the breakdown, it's actually quite interesting. Texas had almost a 500,000 deceased people currently on their rolls. That's insane. Insane. The other people who are on the rolls are convicted felons who obviously legally cannot vote. And then, interesting enough, 6,500 non citizens they found on their rolls. Again, guys, that is a major, major issue. And thankfully, we have the great folks over at Rasmussen Reports who are polling on that very issue. They asked likely voters about illegal aliens voting in their elections and whether elected officials are doing enough to get rid of them off the voter rolls. And this is how that went. 32% of likely US voters say election officials in their state have done nothing to prevent voting by illegal immigrants. 20% say officials have announced some steps, but they're not efficient enough. 18% say election officials have announced steps that sound effective. And well, again, we don't really know, but it says it's going to potentially effectively, and I always laugh when I hear this, address the issue and the threat of illegal aliens voting in our elections. And 8% say officials have outlined a detailed plan, and it sounds effective. So again, most Americans don't think we're doing enough to push back on illegal aliens voting and interfering in our elections. Joining me to break down the latest Rasmussen Reports poll is their head pollster, Mark Mitchell. Mark, thanks for jumping on. This poll is really important because we're not talking about it enough. Illegal aliens are on our voter rolls. We know they're there. Texas just proved that they are. We also know that America First Legal is suing as well in states like Arizona. And well, this is very important. Most Americans believe that their states aren't doing enough to get rid of these illegals off of their voter rolls. What are you learning based on the data you're now receiving from this poll?
This is one more in a long string of massive amounts of data points that we have that nobody else does, that there is zero trust in this country in our electoral systems. And that blows my mind as a public opinion official that's attempting to basically predict the outcome of elections. Why is my industry not talking about this? Because the problem is getting worse and worse. People had a lot of suspicions about the 2020 election, and the idea that you could just gaslight that away by calling it the big lie has not panned out, because now 66% of all US likely voters are at least somewhat concerned that the outcome of this upcoming election is going to be affected by fraud and cheating. And that is terrible. There's zero confidence in our elections, and time again, voters have told us in many different ways that they want more controls, they want audits, they want IDs, they want paper ballots, and they don't like what electronic voting systems are doing. And of course, nobody is paying attention to this issue at all. And not only that, we've actually done some polling that's shown there has been fraud. The big issue with dirty voter rolls, and people might say, oh, it's government. How accurate can the data be? Well, blah, 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 blah. People can go and request ballots for those people and then get them sent to addresses and harvest them. That is happening at some level. And people even told us that in the 2020 election, in the swing states, 20% of all voters said they got at least one extra ballot at their address for somebody that doesn't live there or for more than one people. I know personally, my brother died in 2017. He got 3 mail-in ballots in New Jersey in 2020. So this is happening. Voters know it. And that's how you get results like this, with the majority saying 52%. Yeah, our officials are really not doing what is sufficient. And that's with 21% of people who say not sure. So, the real breakdown is this is like a 3-4 to 1 margin of people saying the officials are actually doing enough. But in the last week or two, we've seen these actions, and it's the right direction. I hope that this gets contagious. Voters are even telling us in these massive polls that we do that they're not citizens, and everybody's just been ignoring that result or treating us like some kind of conspiracy theorists. But then, sure enough, Texas shows that there's illegal aliens registered to vote. Ohio said that they found a couple hundred non-citizens on their rolls too, and actually, I think almost 200 of them already voted in this election, and those are red states. So this is absolutely happening. there is fraud. We need to get better at fixing these issues, and our officials just want to run and hide.
Yeah, and that's the problem here is they don't really want to address this issue, but there is fraud. And to sit here and continue like there isn't is pretty upsetting in itself. Our elections are sacred and they need to be protected. Because again, when somebody votes who's not supposed to vote, which is either a deceased person or an illegal alien, it takes away the voting rights of Americans. And that should be a priority. I was just watching the news, the left leaning news, of course, and they were upset with the Texas AG, Ken Paxton, who's now going after groups who are registering illegal aliens to vote. He's been conducting all these investigations throughout the state, and they're trying to make it seem like it's a race issue, like he's going after Hispanic groups. But it's not Hispanic groups that he's going after. He's going after groups that are going out there and getting illegals to vote. So that's deeply concerning. But again, we're very limited with the amount of state AGs who will go out there and prosecute these crimes. There's literally a handful at this point. So it's great that we have Paxton on our team, but all of these other Republican AGs need to get in line. Mark, I wanted to also jump over to another poll that you guys did as well. This one going after the advisory groups. And it's interesting, too, because we saw Mark Zuckerberg actually write a letter saying he regrets his role in censoring Americans back in 2020, I believe it was, regarding COVID, but I'm sure he also meant the election as well. But let's talk about this poll. It says 11% of voters believe election officials in their state have taken the appropriate steps to prevent outside funded election advisory groups from interfering with public employees running state election systems. 14% say their state officials are taking modest steps towards preventing outside interference, while 17% say officials in their states have taken some steps, but not enough. 23% say election officials have not addressed election interference by outside groups at all. This is concerning, again, because we need to stop these groups. We saw what happened in 2020 when they were doing this. This should be a priority. What are you learning from the polling data, though?
This here is absolutely just more confirmation that nothing has been done. The biggest number there, it's not on the screen, is the 35% of people who are not sure. Just to give you an idea where this issue stacks up, cheating in the 2024 election, 66% concern. That's like higher than education issues. That's higher than abortion and violent crime. Like, people really care about this, and it's not being done. And I'll tell you right now, like, this Zuckerberg thing, we knew way back in 2021 that a massive number of voters knew there was a problem. This is before all of our election integrity polling and before any of this stuff really came out, that Zuckerberg's monies should not be involved in elections. They just hated the optics of that. It's nice for him to finally catch up with everybody, but I mean, it looks like the blob got the result that it wanted in 2020 because that money absolutely had an impact.
Yeah, it did. It did. And we need to, thankfully, in some states, though, they did go after Zuckerberg and ban Zuckerberg money from pouring into their elections. But it should be a priority. It truly should be a priority, Mark. And I find it interesting that most Americans kind of agree with that they don't think that their states are doing enough to block all of this. So we'll see how it all
There
plays out.
needs
But
to
some
be
states are
enough
doing too much too
introspection
late.
for them to clean up their own yard, because I have the numbers here. 70% of voters said Zuckerbucks was a bad thing. Only 8% said a good thing. Even the Democrats, it was 62-12. They hated
Wow.
it too. But of course, they benefited from it.
Yeah. Well, they did. But what's interesting, though? I wonder how that would be if we didn't. When was that poll done?
Oh, this was like fall of 2021.
Well, now that Zuckerberg has come out and he's kind of, I can't tell if it's staged or not, so I won't endorse it. But I will say that he is, after the assassination attempt against President Trump, he did contact Trump, according to President Trump himself. And he did kind of say that, he was very inspired by the president's response after taking a bullet to the head. And now he seems to be remorseful regarding censorship. So I wonder if people would be a little bit more, maybe on the left, those numbers would be a little bit higher because people now know that he might not be more left leaning these days and it's not going to be so favorable towards them. That could be interesting.
Well,
Just throwing that out.
he could show us by removing our shadow ban off Facebook. That would be a great sign of goodwill that he's open to hearing about the topics that other Americans want to hear about, which is COVID vaccine safety, election integrity, the subjugation of our legal system by radicals. I mean, these are all important topics, and they're still being censored on Facebook. I can tell you that right now. And I don't know, maybe his Maybe he has the right intentions, or maybe it's just the fact that he's looking at Twitter right now, which is just blowing up in a way that everybody said was impossible. And maybe he wants some of that traffic for Facebook as well. Put your money where your mouth is, Mark. Remove every conservative shadow ban, unban all those accounts that you kicked off the site back in 2020.
I like that because I don't even give Facebook a shot anymore because I know how bad it is over there. So we don't even try. But that would be amazing for him to do. Maybe I'll reach out for comment because I think that's pretty interesting to ask if they're going to do that or not. Let's see. Put your money where your mouth is, Mr. Zucker.
Happy to have you
Bucks.
quote me as well.
Yeah. I'll send him this clip. Mark, thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time as always. You guys are doing great work over at Rasmussen Reports. So again, folks, if you want him to break down the polling data for you, head on over to his YouTube page. Rasmussen Reports is the page. Give it a follow because it's definitely great content. I can promise you that much. Thank you, Mark. Every day I've been checking out this one sale that I keep bragging about to make sure it's still going on. And well, it is over at mypillow.com. They still have their $25 extravaganza going on, but it's for a limited amount of time. So head on over to mypillow.com right now and take a look around. He has pillows, bed sheets. He's even got towels. I know you all love his towels. They're on sale. So are the slippers, sandals, so many items on sale right now. And the best way to lock down these incredible prices is with promo code BRE. That's promo code BRE. That's how you secure these prices. He even has those dog beds that I keep talking about. Gia and Giuseppe love them. They're on sale right now. I haven't seen them for that low of a price as of yet, but they're $25. And they are a heck of a good dog bed, I must say. Gia can't get off of it. That's a little bit of a problem. But again, folks, head on over to mypillow.com right now because we don't know how long this sale is going to last. Again, these prices, I haven't seen them this low, so you're going to want to take full advantage of it. Might as well get a head start on your Christmas shopping too. Buy your Christmas gifts now for your friends and family and stash them away. I'm telling you, these sales aren't going to last forever. And you're going to want to cash in on these great deals. So head over to mypillow.com, use promo code BRE, that's promo code BRE, to save.